And speaking of WrestleMania season, speaking of the head of the table, speaking of Roman Reigns, let's talk about the WWE Universal Champion. Let's talk about his lengthy title reign that looks like it's not going to get stopped anytime soon, especially with Sami Zayn as the number one contender to the Universal Championship. Nothing against Sami Zayn, but his character right now has nothing to do against the head of the table in the middle of that ring. And yes, tonight, Brock Lesnar returns to SmackDown. His kayfabe suspension is over, and he is back to face off against Roman Reigns. But the question begs to be asked. Who will be the first man, the first star, to beat Roman Reigns? And where will it be? And the answer to the second question to me is it has to be at a WrestleMania. And hopefully it is at next year's WrestleMania, regardless of which of these three opponents he faces at the show of shows. Because like I said, long title reigns are good if they have a purpose. And Reigns' purpose as champion, to me, ends at WrestleMania. Now, that does not mean that after WrestleMania, after he drops the title, he can't get it back and reaffirm his position at the head of the table. All I'm saying is there has to be a finish line to the current incarnation, the current reign of Roman Reigns. And to me, there's three guys that can do that. Number one, Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar returns tonight on SmackDown. He has a very big reason to confront Roman Reigns. He got screwed out of the title at Crown Jewel, which again, in my opinion, was not the right place or time to switch the belts. But there are still some stones to be turned. There's still something to be added to this Lesnar versus Reigns feud. Will Lesnar be able to dethrone Reigns, and will Lesnar make it all the way to WrestleMania? Seems very doubtful right now because, like I said, it's December 3rd. He's returning to SmackDown. Day 1 is right around the corner. The Royal Rumble pay-per-view is at the end of January. So it does seem like WWE is trying to get rid of this rivalry, rid of this program, of this match, Lesnar versus Reigns, and they might not be able to see it as yet another WrestleMania main event, which I would be on board with. Having them face off at day 1 for the title, why not? Have Roman Reigns retain the championship, end the feud, let's move on. Why not? But again, Lesnar still has that chance. He's still one of the top guys, and for the first time in ever, since he returned to WWE, he is actually a babyface when it comes to WWE rivalries. So there's a chance there. Wouldn't be my first pick. Then there's a man by the name of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Now, if you ask anybody who's been watching WWE, who's been following the product, and they ask you, what is the one match that you want the current incarnation of Roman Reigns to face off against in the show of shows, the main event for the title, and they're going to tell you, The Rock. They want cousin versus cousin, The Rock versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. And by all intents and purposes, it might happen this year. It could happen. There's a very good chance it could happen. You could also get a variation of it. You could get one Uso siding with Reigns and the other Uso siding with The Rock if The Rock has enough time on his schedule to make it to Dallas. Not only to make it to Dallas, but to build that program up on SmackDown week after week after week. Even just a little bit. So there's still that chance. that The Rock might get there. Or The Rock could wait until next year's WrestleMania, not this upcoming one, but next year's, the one in 2023, which is taking place in SoFi Stadium near The Rock's current home, Hollywood, right here in Los Angeles, California, and we could get that Reigns versus Rock match official for that show of shows. But either way, one thing in common about these two opponents, Lesnar and The Rock versus Reigns, either way, I'm sorry about that if you heard that. My belly is not in the best mood right now. But either way, picking one of these two opponents is just uninteresting to me because, first of all, if you put the championship on either one, they're not going to be on the show week in and week out. They're both part-timers, especially The Rock. The Rock cannot make it each and every single week as WWE Universal Champion. He will not do that. He does not have the time on that schedule to do that. He does not have it on his schedule on the road to Dallas, or after Dallas, or on the road to LA, or after the road to LA. He doesn't. He just doesn't. So it doesn't really make sense to have The Rock beat Reigns for the championship. So here's my pick for this upcoming WrestleMania. And it's something that I've been wanting to happen for a very, very long time. And that is have a current full-time star in Drew McIntyre main event the biggest show of the year. And by main event, I actually mean go last against the current full-time star in Roman Reigns for the championship. And if this happens, if Drew McIntyre, a current star, beats Roman Reigns, the current head of the table, the current champion, for the title, then you're creating a bigger star out of Drew McIntyre. And that is what you need. Because Lesnar and Rock and Cena and Goldberg and many others can't, I can't stress this enough, they can't keep coming back to main event your shows. That only works for so long, and then it gets tiring, and then your current stars look like shit against these part-time veterans that, yes, are legends and icons and future Hall of Famers, but at the end of the day, let them be that. Let them be icons and legends, and let them just put over the new generation. So that's my pick. Again, sorry about that. That's my pick. Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns at Dallas at WrestleMania. McIntyre becomes Universal Champion. Reigns gets to go on a long extended break. Then he comes back and then he wins the title back. And then, at WrestleMania in Hollywood, he gets to defend and retain his title against The Rock in the match that everybody wants. That's my vision for SmackDown right now. That's my vision for Roman Reigns. That's my vision for WrestleMania right now. It might change. It might happen. I don't know. But at the end of the day, what do you think? Do you think we're gonna get Rock versus Reigns this year, next year? Are we ever gonna get it? Who do you think should dethrone Reigns as champion? Leave your thoughts, comments, and predictions on the comment section below.